the term verb mean? And how many types of verbs are there? And where are the places we use verbs? Alright, you will get answers for all these questions towards the end of the lecture, and that's possible only if you don't skip to watch until the last minute. Alright, with no further ado, let's get started to understand what verb is and what are all the types with explanations and examples. But before that, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and also have a look at all the other lectures that we have already posted in the channel. Okay, let's get started. So first, we need to have a basic level of understanding for what a verb does mean. Okay? So a verb literally means or simply refers to actions or the words of actions. So that's the first and the primary level of understanding that we all need to be having to understand what a verb means. So that's for verbs, and we all need to know that we have four broad classifications of verbs on basis of various things, as in differences over their spellings, in making us understand the tenses, and so on. So we'll quickly first take a look at all the types of verbs. So as I said, they are classified into four broad classifications, and the first is regular or irregular verbs. Okay, and the second thing is main or helping verbs. The third is static or dynamic verbs, and the last one is transitive or intransitive verbs. So these are the four classifications of verbs. Now let's quickly get into the understanding of all these types of verbs. Okay, so first we'll understand what regular and irregular verbs are. So regular verbs and irregular verbs are differentiated on basis of the spelling difference. Okay, we have various actions that takes place, right? We have various actions that take place in and around us, and they become verbs, right? We have no doubts in it, and all the verbs have changes from tense to tense, and we call them as changes over their verb forms. We usually refer to them as V1, V2, V3, and in recent times V4 and V5. So when verb or the base verb changes from one verb form to the other verb form, they have either minor changes over their spellings or they have a complete change over their spellings. And that's the thing over regular and irregular verbs. If a verb has got a minor change, as in the verb work, where when the base form is changed to V2 or V3, it just involves a meager change of an addition of ed with its base form. They are called as irregular verbs. I repeat, regular verbs are those verbs which involves a minor change over their spellings when they are changed from one word form to the other word form, as in the word work. When the word work is changed from the base form or the V1 form to the V2 form, that's a past form, or even the participle form, that's the V3 form, it is going to be changed with an addition of ed to the base word work. So the verb forms of work is work, worked, worked. So that's a matter of ed that's getting added to the base form. So all those words which have the changes, a minor change over the spelling to their base form of verbs, they are called as regular verbs, whereas irregular verbs are going to be the just contrast of it. So irregular verbs are going to have complete change or major change over their spellings when they are changed from one form of verb to another form, like go. The word go is go in its V1 form, that's the base word itself. And when it is changed to V2 form or V3 form, that's the past or the past participle form, there is a complete change over the spelling of the verb, right? So go, when it becomes a V2, it changes to be becoming went. So go, V2 form of go is went, and V3 or the participle form of go is gone. So you can easily witness a complete change over the spelling of the base form. So when there is a verb that involves a complete change or a major change over its spelling, when it is converted from V1 to other forms of verbs, that is called, or that falls under the category of irregular verbs. So that is the meaning of regular and irregular verbs. Moving on to the next type, that's main and helping verbs. Okay, so main verbs is something that takes in the major action of a sentence. Okay, every sentence will have one major action or one important action that is involving in the context of the sentence, and those important actions are called as main verbs. Okay, and then why is it important to note helping verbs? Yes, it is of course important because it is the helping verb that provides a link between the main verb and the context by showing us the time of its happening. That's also called the tense. And if you wanted to take the statement or convert a statement into into a question, that requires a helping verb. So a helping verb will help you out in knowing tenses, or converting a sentence into a question, or it also establishes a link between the main verb and the context of the entire sentence. So that's the helping verbs word. And what are helping verbs? We need to know that. So helping verbs are either be forms or do forms or have forms or modal forms. Okay? So be forms are, as you might be aware of, be forms of verbs that include am, is, are, was, were, and so on. And do forms are do, did, and does, while have forms are has, have, and had. And we have modal auxiliaries, which is also called as auxiliary verbs, that include can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would. And all these verbs are called as modal verbs or auxiliary verbs in sometimes. So all these helping verbs will give you out the time of happening. That's the major help or the purpose of using helping verbs. Of course, we'll have an example towards the end of the lecture. And quickly moving on to the next slide, that's static verbs and dynamic verbs. Static verbs and dynamic verbs are also called as stage verbs and action verbs. The difference between static and dynamic verb is the mere action itself. Okay, so verbs which doesn't really involve physical movement of your body are called as stage verbs or static verbs, like the verb think. This verb is obviously an action, but this verb doesn't require movement of your body. And all those verbs which do not require a movement in your body or physical change over your body, action over your body, are called as static verb, while dynamic verbs and action verbs by its term itself says that it requires an action. Like it brings out or evokes explicitly an action. Like as in the word run, write, and all these verbs are involving a physical action, and those verbs are referred to as dynamic verbs. Okay, so that's the difference and the meaning of static and dynamic verbs. Now we are moving on to the last classification. They are transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Transitive, the very name says that it has got or it involves transit. Okay, transit in the sense movement. Okay, fine. So the difference between these two types are involving an object in the sentence. Okay, so when there is an object or when there is a movement of an object in a sentence, it requires a transitive verb, while intransitive verbs do not involve movement of objects within the context or within the sentence. As in, the verb example verbs are, for transitive verbs you have give, take, move. Okay, so all these verbs like give, take, and move will require an object to be followed by it to stand meaningful. Give, what do you give? That's a question. Take, what do you take? Move, what do you move? So it requires an object for it to become complete. So you give a pen, or you take a cup, or you move a table, or something else. So it requires an object to make it full or to make it complete, and that's transitive verb. And a transitive verb is not such. It doesn't actually require any object for it. Like in cases of speech. Let's now quickly have an example sentence. Ashok is driving a car. If you take this sentence has got two verbs. Driving is the main verb, while is, the be form of verb, is the helping verb. Though driving gives out the important action of this context or the sentence, it is the helping verb is that explicitly shows us the time of happening by giving us the tense. It is through this is, the helping verb, we understand that the sentence is in present tense. And that is the main purpose of using an helping verb. Well, let's quickly look at the second example. I have a car. In this sentence, you need to understand an interesting fact that you have only one verb, and you might be confusing within yourself that even that verb belongs to the category of helping verbs. You can raise me a question if that's possible. Well, yes, it is possible in exceptional cases like this, where helping verbs tend to be the main verb at times of showing possessions or ownerships. In this case, I have a car. The ownership of the car is shown out explicitly by using have as the main verb, and that's why the main verb here is have. The third example sentence will help us understand the usage of helping verbs more easily. This third sentence is, I have been learning in this school for 10 years. In this sentence, learning is the main verb, while have been is a be form of verb, which is a helping verb for the sentence that helps in understanding the tenses. Here, the learning is the word learning is the main action that's done, while have been helps in understanding that this sentence belongs to present perfect continuous aspect of tense. Ashok doubts if he would pass the exam. This example sentence is an example for a static verb. Can you find which is static verb here? Alright, you were right. The verb doubts is a verb which actually doesn't require a physical movement over your body, and so that's a static verb. And we also have a helping verb in the same sentence, and that is would. I guess you found it. And that belongs to modal verbs, which are also called as auxiliary verbs, that says about this thing is a guess by the subject. The last example sentence is Arun jogs in the morning. In this sentence, you can find only one verb, and that's jogs. This verb happens to be both main verb and it's an example also for dynamic verb. Jogs is an action that involves the movement of your body or a part of your body, and so it is to be considered as a dynamic verb as well. I hope the lecture was clear, and with that is all for today's lecture. And if you have any doubts, as usual, don't hesitate to post your comments in the comment section and get your doubts clarified, for that will make me even more happier. So that is it, and thank you for listening to the lecture very patiently. Have a great day. Meet you in another interesting lecture.